Hey guys, it's me, Angelica, and today I'm here to record a story time for you all. So basically, if you're not familiar with a story time is basically where I tell you guys something that happened in my life, and it's just a story, like when your grandparents sit down with you and they tell you a story about their childhood, something of that sort. So this story is going to be about my first day of 11th grade, which was just a couple of days ago on September 9th. So I had like a really bad day, and I just wanted to share that with you guys of how exactly it went, because it was a complete scare of what was going on and the disappointment. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And just a disclaimer, I am sick right now, so that's why my voice probably sounds like this. And I bleached my roots yesterday. I'm not a professional. I actually suck at doing these things, but that's why it looks like blonde and like different tones of blondes, because yeah, I suck. But that isn't the point of this video. This is my third time recording, so hopefully this time it's right. So let's just get straight into the video. So on September 9th, it was my first day of 11th grade, and I was fairly excited because I'm like, finally, I'm a junior, the year's gonna go by fast, and then I'm gonna be a senior, and then that's gonna go by fast, and then, you know, adulthood, basically. I went to school early because usually my school posts the schedules like a week before school starts, but something was wrong this year, and it was like kind of easier to tell because we didn't get our schedules. Like usually we, like I said, we get it like a week before, but then on the day before school started, we still didn't have a schedule up on our pupil path, which is a software where we could check our schedule, our grades, and things like that. So it wasn't up there, so I got up early, and I'm like, you know what, that way I could get my schedule, I don't have to worry about the line and of that sort. So I go to school, and they didn't have like the schedule, like they usually have like desk with like different desks everywhere with schedules with the grades on top, and then they divide it by your last name. So I go, and it wasn't there, it wasn't set up. A lot of people wanted their schedule, so everybody came early, and we go, and it's not set up. But finally, when it's set up, you know, everybody rushes to the line, and I go to the line. I'm one of the first people on the line because I'm telling you, I might be short and I might be thick, but I would run for my life. I actually go online, and I'm waiting. I was like maybe the third person down, and finally I get there, and my schedule's not there. My new guidance counselor told me, he was like, you don't have a schedule here, just go to the next line. So I'm like, damn it, I need to wait the next line. So luckily I had a friend that was on the line, and she was like, hey, just jump in front of me. So I was like, thank you so much, and I go, still no schedule. So that was all the 11th grade schedule. So I'm like, wait a minute, did I get held back? Like, how come I wasn't informed of this? Like, how did I get held back? Like, there's no way impossible. So I rushed to like the 10th grade section, and I took behind the table where the 9th and 10th grade guidance counselor is at, and I go to her. I'm like, Miss Lawrence, I need my schedule. I'm not in the 10th grade. What is going on? And she was like, just go sit down, relax. I got you at the end. So I go sit down. Two of my other friends didn't get a schedule either. They sat down with me. So I was just like so confused. I was like, did I get held back? Did they think I dropped out? What is going on? I'm so lost. And in my school there was a new principal and a new assistant principal, because to find out that day also that one of my assistant principals is retiring, which sucks because I was so close with that assistant principal and my old principal. So it was just like, it was a bummer. And the new principal and the new assistant principal, they were like on like new rules and stuff, and I understand that because, you know, now is their school, they need to run it the way they need to. But why aren't you guys running it and making sure students have a schedule, which should be your first priority, to make sure a kid has their schedule before you decide, hold up, no, it's lunchtime, you need to ask for permission to go to the bathroom and things of that sort. So they just like didn't introduce themselves or anything. They actually, I don't know where the assistant principal was at that time, but the principal was on stage, like just sitting there with her phone texting. And I was like, wow, I really need a schedule. And then my two friends finally got their schedules, and they got a 10th grade schedule. So they were confused, like, wait a minute, why did I get held back? But Miss Lawrence, who was the 9th and 10th grade guidance counselor, she said that it must have been a glitch and don't worry about it at the moment. I guess so she's thinking, like, you know, we'll fix it later on. Right now, let's just get kids' schedules, because they still had 11th grade classes, but it said they were in the 10th grade. So I'm still waiting. So I go and I'm still there waiting, and then finally I go upstairs and I'm hopping from office to office because nobody's there to help me, and it was really disappointing. And my old assistant principals, they try to help, but then people were calling them to go do things, and it was just so disorganized. And then finally I found out they didn't bother to even make my schedule. Like, I had no schedule in the system. And because of that, I couldn't even get my MetroCard. I was told that I needed to wait 2 weeks for a MetroCard. So that's like 2 weeks hopping the train, me risking a cop seeing me and getting busted and getting the ticket. So I was just like, listen, it's not gonna work or whatever. And it took a while for me to even get my MetroCard. So that happened, and finally, like around the ending of 3rd period, one of my assistant principals was like, you know what, I'm not going to leave my office until you get a schedule, because she had to go somewhere. And she sat there and she made my schedule, and I was like, thank you so much or whatever. Thank God I'm in the 11th grade. So it was a really stress reliever, because I think my biggest stress was, did I get held back? Like, it was kind of confusing for me. So then boom, I go to 3rd period, which is the ending or whatever, and it was my graphics class, so it wasn't such a big deal because the first day is more of an introduction in each class. So I went there, and then after I have 4th period is usually lunch for the 10th to 12th grade, and then 9th grade they have their separate lunchtime around 5th period. So I go to lunch. After, I go to my chemistry class, which is my 5th period. So I go there, and then we're just talking, like all the students are talking with her because it's still the first day, so she's like trying to like get in the flow, trying to know names and telling us what chemistry is really about and things of that sort. So then we started talking about the principal, because a lot of the kids was pretty furious with the principal, and I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those, like, I wanted to go and approach her and be like, why isn't work getting done? Like, what is your job for? To sit there and play with your phone? And it's not respectful, and I didn't do it. My old guidance counselor kind of was like, please, just not today. Like, it's her first day. Let's just take it easy. So it was just like a lot of disappointment because she wasn't doing her job. Then, actually, while we were in the class, we started talking about, at least, you know, we got the Washington, D.C. trip, and that would be a stress reliever. So then my chemistry teacher breaks it to us that, well, guys, we're not having our Washington, D.C. trip this year. We were all so upset because every year the junior class goes to Washington, D.C. So freshman year, when we heard that, we were also excited because we were hearing stories of how much fun the trips are. And we stayed there for 4 days and 3 nights or whatever. So it's a fast trip, but it was just cool because, you know, it's a break and we get to leave the state. I mean, if you live in New York City, you probably have been to Washington, D.C. Personally, I haven't. I drove by there when I was like in the car going from Florida to New York, but besides that, I personally haven't. So I was just like really excited. Like, I never seen the White House like really close. I never seen any of that. And I know certain people are probably like, really, but I fairly don't travel that often. The only time I traveled was when I was moving from New York to Florida, and then I moved back to New York from Florida. So that was pretty much the only time I traveled, and I was excited, and so was everybody else. And when we heard that, we were just like, bummer. We were like, why though? Like, why now? You guys decided to like cancel the trip? And she was like, oh, you know, it's the new principal and we don't have funds. But we were stopped her. We're like, wait a minute, how come we don't have funds? We worked so hard last year selling things. We sold food during like parent-teacher conference and all these other things to get funds. Where did our funds disappear to? I don't know. I still don't know. And it just sucks because now they canceled it. And then later on in the next period, I have U.S. history. So I was like, I thought about it because she was talking about how she gives homework fairly every other day. So I was like, okay, no problem, whatever. I just need a planner. So I didn't go to first period, which I would have had English, and usually the English class gives you a planner. So I asked, I said, are we getting planners this year? Because I could have just walked up to the English teacher, hey, I have you first period, can I get my planner now, whatever. And she said they didn't order them. So that was another bummer. Why didn't you order planners for your students? Because every year we have a planner that comes from the school. It has our reference tables and all that. So basically a lot of things wasn't done that were supposed to be done, and it was really disappointing. And later on, I still didn't approach the principal because I know it's like her first couple days, so I'm letting it off. But I'm like, wow, like I'm so disappointed. And guys, if you had like a bad experience that was worse than this, comment it down below, really, because I take it as this was a bad experience. Like, I had a scare that I might get held back. I had no schedule, and I know certain people be like, hey, well, I won't do anything, it's fine with me. But for me, that was a big thing. I had to get myself a planner when I was like fairly broke, and they canceled the trip that you was waiting for like 2 years. So that sucked. But luckily with the planner, I lucked out because as I was going home or whatever, I took the train, and then I started walking from the train to my house, and it was raining. So I took off my jacket and I put it like over my head and to cover my book bag because it is fabric, and I know the water will seep through and wet the paper, and I really don't want that. So I was looking down on the floor, and then I saw $10 and nobody was around. So I took it. I was like, yes, $10. So then I know other people were probably spending on other things, but since I knew I needed a planner, because personally I cannot write homework down on a regular piece of paper or anything of that sort, because I feel like that's so disorganized, and then I won't do my homework because it's unmotivational for me. So I went to Target, and there was like one planner left, and thank God, guys, that it cost the same amount I had, and I purchased it, and I was like, ah. So yes, and if you want to see that planner or whatever, I can link down my what's in my backpack. You can kind of see the things I got. But yep, that was my story on my worst first day of junior year and my last first day of junior year, of course. But that was a bad day, and if you guys had a bad experience, comment it down below because I'm so interested of hearing you guys' stories. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time, alright?
Baby, break a sweat, baby.